What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Body Slam TNA post show. I'm joined, as always, by the great Io. How you doing?
Doing good, man. I'm having a fantastic week, and I know I'm just gonna have like a fantastic weekend too. Because as we're gonna get into in a few seconds, like for like a TNA fandom, I feel like everything for like the whole. I'm not speaking from like the hardcores on behalf of the hardcores and like the fandom. Like this coming Sunday, Slammiversary is like kind of like a big culmination, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like everything, like yeah,
Completely
like
agree.
it's yeah, like it's just like one of those like even if you haven't been watching for the product for a while, it's just like man, you gotta like tune in to see like how they've been doing, like checking like always like checking up on the whole fella and some sort of.
Exactly.
But yeah, how you been, bro?
Uh, I would definitely say like go on when Monday hit. I was very very excited, but just as the days rolled on, especially after last night, and we're going to talk about it in the beginning of the show. And for those who watched last night's show, that ending,
Mhm.
now I'm like, you know what I mean? I'm getting feelings like when I first discovered TNA, like, this is really, and so yeah, for the people, like you said, the hardcores, yeah, I think this is going to bring a lot, maybe the ones who maybe don't watch anymore or fell off. I think it's going to bring a lot of people back. So
Mhm.
before we get into it, I just want to remind everyone this week's podcast is sponsored by Shroom Bar, the protein mushroom bar. It's made up of not made up of not psychedelics, but four powerful mushroom adaptions. It has lion's mane, which increases focus, memory, and plasticity, making it easier to form new patterns and learn new things. Next time you're trying to learn that new move, it'll actually stick in your head rather than forgetting it immediately. It has quadriceps, which increases VO2 max, blood flow, and overall endurance. It has reishi, which decreases stress. It has turkey tail, which boosts your immune system. And we all know that you're going to need that on those nasty ass gym mats. On top of all that, it has 12 grams of protein. Go to shroombar.com and use code BODYSLAM at checkout for 25% off your first order. Okay. I'm going to let you take
Okay.
it on this beginning because, again, I think everyone who knows watches the show, follow in the comments. We talk about it. You've been watching since day one. So I'll just set you up real quick. If anybody who watched TNA last night, they found out that at this week's Slammiversary, we're going to have an appearance by the one and only AJ Styles. He will be, he's going to be president at Slammiversary. And, I again, I'm going to let you take this, but, me being a late today, 2009, I still know, I have pretty good idea what he means, but just tell everybody, what he means to the company. You know what I mean?
Yeah, AJ Styles, he's as you mentioned, he's like the franchise of that brand. And when he says like the house that AJ Styles built, that's kind of like pretty much how it is. Like he was in the first match he was in the first TNA match back at the Asylum, the inaugural the inaugural X Division champion. Like he's mainly like all like in all when you put in as many highlights as you can, like mostly you see AJ Styles under. What are some Ultimate X matches, high risk matches, TNA classic TNA moments. AJ has been a part of that. So he is and I think I can speak for like wrestlers growing up, like wrestlers today now, like they looked up to AJ watching, especially Will Ospreay particularly because one of the greatest matches everyone still talks about is the Unbreakable three-way Christopher Daniels, Samoa Joe, AJ Styles. So AJ, yeah, he what he means to this company, yeah, it's a big influence. Like, and for me, and I'm speaking for me, when I started noticing TNA, I heard AJ Styles talks, like from from YouTube to like comments, AJ Styles talks. And here's a little nugget. Like, I noticed when you if you go if you there's a WrestleMania 20 photo of Randy Orton doing this pose, and then there's a sign uh saying that WWE signed AJ Styles, and that was in 2004. So you're probably thinking like, who's AJ Styles back then? But like, so like, yeah, basically, yeah, AJ was his name was like making runs around. So anyway, fast forward, he became the franchise. He became the man. Like won all the literally won all the championships there is to do. And then fast forward, he was there for like 11 years. And obviously, things the company went south and under and stuff. And of course, AJ being a valuable talent that he is, long story short, there was kind of like a certain issues where they told him to take a pay cut, and like I know that's kind of ridiculous. But I'm sure you heard about the story, like taking a pay cut or whatnot.
Yeah.
So anyway, long story short, yeah, Styles departed, and when he departed, that kind of sends some shock waves because, like again, he's like the franchise, the face, the golden boy of whatnot, that brand. And not to surprise of anyone, he took his talents and he launched, right through New Japan Pro Wrestling, became Bullet Club, and and that's I mean, I'm sure some people never thought it would be possible. Yep, AJ Styles, he launched right into WWE and he still became a mega star to this day. So long story, so to put it and I'm gonna give you the floor. So like to put it up, this is just kind of like 11 years in the making because I'm pretty sure I could speak for a lot of TNA fans. We never thought this moment would be possible. Like, and AJ, he really doesn't even need to do this. And I know that that's kind of a little harsh because he's outgrown TNA obviously and stuff. So like for him to like and a part to this relationship for him to like return like this is just like a culmination. Like it shows like wow TNA has really grown back to like has really crawled his way back from the bottom up to this moment toward the face of the franchise of TNA that is even agreeing to come back. So yeah, Sunday. So yeah, long story short, yeah, Sunday is really going to be a culmination moment for the whole TNA community. And yeah, how you feeling about this?
Well said on everything. Definitely, AJ is that dude. You know what I mean? Like he's TNA Sting to what Sting was at WCW. He's a franchise. And to your point about him even agreeing to come back, I could also even say that I think that, and yeah, definitely agreeing to come back. But at the same time, I think that TNA, like, if TNA is finally reaching the success that they always wanted to reach, 25 years in, I think this is arguably their biggest high or matching their previous high. And, but
Oh, yeah.
you need to bring AJ back because like you mentioned them asking to take a pay cut, the company kind of almost let him down. You know what I mean? And
Exactly.
they should have never got.
Yeah.
They should never let it get. They should never let it get that bad. So
Yeah.
it almost seems like they have to have AJ come back out of respect to him.
AJ was one of those guys who were much like Sting, believed the brand, and like like you mentioned, like the company started making some mistakes, and then like it felt like they let him down, they let Show down, Daniels down, and a few others, and yeah.
Yeah, so I think
yeah, you can continue here. Continue.
Oh yeah, no, just real quick, I just want to say if they were going to ever reach the success that they once had, they need to bring the guy back that really helped build that previously. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Also, speaking of Slammiversary, as I mentioned, right now it seems like, well, right now as it stands, it seems to be their biggest attendance venue in over 10 years, which is very incredible. Again, it shows like how far the company has grown back, from the bottom and whatnot.
Yes.
So yeah, tickets are moving like hotcakes, and I can't wait. I can't wait to be there Sunday.
I know, man. That's so cool. That's going to be definitely one for the ages.
Yeah.
Okay. let's get into. And you know what? Just real quick. Also, if you want to, if you want to, if you want to see proof, if you want to see proof of what AJ means to the brand, even before it was confirmed, if you pay attention to like WrestleTix, tickets started moving very quickly. You know what I mean? When the possibility of AJ was being there, so you obviously, you know, he means something. So, did you have anything else you want to say, Ayo?
I mean, no, this is about it. That's pretty much about it. Like, yeah, like when you think of TNA, you think of AJ, and it's like a coming together, And like, I wouldn't TNA, yeah, TNA did everything right. It's like, hey, you got this guy who's potentially coming back. Of course, you got to announce him. It's like we want to sell as much tickets as possible. So, if anyone who's kind of complaining on the whole surprise factor, like, hey, the the pop is going to be thunderous. I can assure you that.
Exactly. Okay. Next, we're going to get into a little NXT TNA. This week's episode was, you could pretty much call it a TNA go home show. You know what I mean? They plugged the shit out of it. You know what I mean? And
pretty much pretty much it's pretty much NXT TNA show last Tuesday.
You know, I'm not going to mention the other name, but yeah, these are the kind of things that you point to and say, yeah, this relationship's a lot better than that previous one.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
We were supposed to have a Dark State versus. Oh, I had my notes. Who was it? It was Dark State versus not the System, but the.
The three guys in the main event, Hendry, Trick, Santana.
Yes. We got a little bit of the smash until the System came out and kind of attacked Dark State. And let me just say, I believe it's NXT that has in WWE that has a Survivor Series pay-per-view coming up. I don't know if NXT is going to be a part of that, but give me some of these old school traditional Survivor Series faction matchups. Look at all these factions we got going on with just TNA and NXT right now going at it.
Yeah.
You know, let's be some good matches, but I really like this.
Yeah.
What'd you think about all this?
It was pretty cool. Like, yeah, it was pretty cool. Like, seeing the System like come out and like, brawl with Dark States. Crowd was into it, chanting TNA, TNA. Yeah, I agree. Like, there's just some potentials to do some like huge crossover matches, even if it's on Survivor Series or NXT program. Like the system versus Dark State, which we're likely getting Sunday, as we'll get into it, or Fatal Influence against the Elegance brand, or like any other type of crossovers that they can come up with. Like and like you can tell like NXT is more willing, like they don't have a problem with having like TNA overshadow their show and whatnot. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of other ways to get over besides wins and losses. You know what I mean? So I think NXT is aware of that as well. Like you just said, you know what I mean? There's not they're not trying to make sure that they're always on top in these feuds. So yeah, I agree with you on that. And real quick, shout out to our buddy, because I've been kind of on Dark State, but shout out to our friend Kyle. He's always telling me to keep an eye out for Saquon Sugars, and he definitely is the one that stands out in the group. You know what I mean? So yeah, I am trying to pay a little bit more attention to Dark State because it is a talented group.
Kyle and our other buddy Cameo, they're fans of Shaquan. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I like Dion Lennox before he joined. You know what I mean? Before he started this kind of in Dark State, I was always a fan of Dion Lennox. So there's a lot of talent there.
Real quick, as I mentioned, the group, it still has potential. They just need like a purpose. Like, why are they doing it? And like, someone who's really calling the shots. But I don't know if we're likely gonna get that, but I guess we'll see. You know whatever they do with this group. But
And sometimes WWE shoots himself in the foot a little bit because they kind of been booking their factions a little bit of the same way, and that's why you might hear people will call them like Shield Light and stuff like that. And it's not because of the talent in the group; it's because the way that you had them book, coming out of the crowd, coming out with the masks. You know what I mean? Like there's different ways to book a faction. You know what I mean? They should have done something a little bit more original, but that's not the talent's fault. Okay. Our other match, which was fucking great. It was Sol Ruka, Zarya, and our TNA Women's Champion, Masha Slamovich, versus the Fatal Influence, J.C. Jane, Jasmine Nix, and Fallon Henley. Again, this would be another great, like, this is another potential, like, kind of faction match, but I thought this was so good. I think people are sleeping a little bit on JC in terms of, I think she's kind of, I'm going back to like the Toxic Attraction. I think she's kind of proven that she was the top star out of the three, and I think she's proven it again here. But I think the more that JC works, you're seeing her work a lot more, especially with the TNA girls. I think she's really getting really good out there. What did you think about this match?
Yeah. I'll get on JC in a minute. Yeah, this was a very good. This was a very good main event, and it was good. It was good for them to showcase Masha Slamovich to the NXT audience. It's because she's been in the crowd a couple times and stuff. So this was a good. This was a good introduction showing for like Masha and of course Soruka, Zarya, very talented as well. But I agree with what you said, JC Jane. It seemed like when she was in Toxic Attraction, she was kind of like the third wheel-ish, like it was just Mandy, Gigi, and then JC, that type of thing. But like credit to JC, she was able to kind of like she was able to kind of like transition to other stuff and like make the most out of it, like Toxic Attraction, and then she was doing Chase U a bit and kind of like a baby face for a short bit and stuff, and then went back to heel, and then started pairing with Jasmine Nix, and then here we are with Fatal Influence. So yeah, JC, yeah, credit to her. Yeah, she's been able to prove a lot of doubters wrong, like you know showing like that that she can still bring it and show that she's deserving of the spot that she's in now and stuff. And I mentioned too, like on the tweet that hey, like her being on TNA for a bit prior to winning the NXT titles, what kind of like what led to that move. So yeah, good things going for JC, and got the big win over Jordan at Evolution too, which is pretty nice. So, but yeah, good main event. Masha getting the pin, momentum, momentum headed into Sunday. So
Yeah, again, I'm glad you referenced your tweet saying that, because I definitely think that her work in TNA in the brief since she was working matches there, I think, and she's definitely gotten more polished because of that. So
yeah,
you know what I mean? It's not like we haven't seen that before. TNA knows what they're doing in terms of stuff, in terms of people, in terms of booking. So, but yeah, no. So we're gonna, like I said, this match was back and forth, very competitive. At one point, though, Tatum came out, and I forget. I'm running a blank. Who else came out with her? But it caused Jasmine Nix and Fallon Henley to basically
Tatum
leave.
and Izzy Dame, I believe.
Yeah, it caused JC Jane to be all on her own, and Masha was able to pick up the win, which that I've seen some people mention a little bit that might scare them, because if you're thinking reverse booking, okay,
Yeah.
you have Masha, and
Yeah.
I definitely
yeah.
What is your thoughts on that? Are you scared now a little bit?
I'd be lying if I didn't think of that too at some point, but I mean, I have my own predictions as we'll get into later. Like, I think this was, but yeah. Well, I mean, well, it's NXT's booking. So first off, so we can just point that out. And this was to introduce. This was Masha's first match on NXT, so it's not like she was. I mean, it's not like they were just gonna have her like losing her first match and stuff. But I mean, we'll see. Yeah, yeah. I did have a little thinking about that, like because it's happened before. It has like who gets the last momentum and heading into pay-per-view and stuff. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Let me just say, I think you brought up just a good point that I think that there's a caveat to this one because it was Masha's first match. So you wouldn't want to have her lose. And just it's not like there's a rule that reverse book, you know what I mean? That's not like a thing. It's not set in stone. But the more I think about it, we're going to obviously talk about it when we get into predictions. I could see a scenario where JC wins just because obviously it makes both women by holding two belts. But I think it does slightly more for JC if she holds both of them.
Yeah. There's also another factor as to like what's like that might help like us decide who might win Sunday. Um, that being of course being asked by Elegance, who has a future title shot.
Yes. Okay. I'm glad you mentioned that. Good transition. Let's get right into it.
All right.
I think last night's TNA was one hell of a go home show.
It definitely got both people talking. We'll say that.
Yeah, I love seeing TNA trending. The last, they've been trending for a while, but like they've been trending very high lately. So that's always good to see.
They trend every Thursday. Sometimes if there's not a collision or collision, on the same day, but TNA is trending consistently now. That's for sure. And
The
even
brand is
Slammiversary is
definitely,
trending. Yeah.
yeah, the brand's hot right now. It's been hot. But we open up with, I thought it was, I wouldn't call it a squash match, but we had Moose first with Alicia, the captain, versus Sami Callihan. I'm not going to say that Moose demolished him, but this was definitely, yeah, it was. There was a point to be proven, but Moose did get the win. But I thought this match was all about the promo after. Moose cut a scathing promo on Sami Callihan, basically just telling him he's washed up, he doesn't have it anymore, he should retire. And Sami,
he's fat and all that, yeah.
Good on Sami. That's somebody who's been in the business a long time because he didn't have to say anything, but his eyes and body language sold it all. You know what I mean? Like you thought he was going to go for his boots to take them off. What'd you think about it? I thought this was good shit. What'd you think about this?
Yeah, this was very, very interesting. Like the Sami we know would, kind of like obviously would drop Moose on his head, and stuff. But you notice like this Sami kind of like took it back. Like he was considering taking his boots off and like, but he kind of walked off into the ring. And then what's interesting is the tweet he put out saying like maybe Moose is right, maybe I'm fat and washed. So I'm curious to see if this is like a storyline heading like because I mean let's be honest, Sammy hasn't really been doing much, after the barbed wire massacre match, which was months back and stuff. So yeah, I guess this was Moose kind of in his way, in trying to berate him, like humiliate him, but also who knows, maybe this might light a fire into Sammy. I mean, who knows? But yeah, it was very kind of like it's very kind of like interesting because like the Sammy we knew would not like just sit down and let Moose talk to him like that and stuff.
That's what I'm saying. they didn't have. This has been one promo segment, but the possibilities, especially you just saying that, this leads to a Sami Callihan redemption angle / him that being Moose's like next feud a little bit later down the line. I'm all for this because Sami Callihan is very good. So he just has been kind of stagnant lately. So if this leads to something big, I'm all for that.
Mhm.
Okay. And basically too, Moose also addressed Leon Slater as well. You know what I mean? He said he's gonna finish him, and then he's gonna continue on to be on training on becoming the longest reigning X Division champion of all time. You know, I honestly kind of think that this might be Moose's best title run in TNA.
Oh yeah.
And he's the 40-year-old champion. I didn't think that this
Out of
run was
all,
going to be.
out of all the title reigns, out of all the title championships, this is his best reign.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think it was smart to have him become X Division champion, just because I think if you look at along all the list of greats in TNA, a lot of them have held that belt at one time. You know what I mean? And that belt's very important to TNA. I think it's TNA's most important title.
Definitely.
So yeah, I agree with you as well. I think this is his best reign. Next, we're going to go into just an Order 4 segment. We were supposed to get System versus Order 4, but Dark State came out to take out the System. Obviously, a little bit of retribution. That was no pun intended. I did not mean to say that.
Yeah.
That was I just thought of that in my head.
Yeah.
No. So again, I hope we get. This is kind of the things I liked from when I was a kid. Bringing it back, these all-star tag matches. Yeah, I want more of these faction warfare. So hopefully we get the System versus Darkseid at one point. I think they already made that match, right?
Yeah. With the addition of Cardona. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's 4-4. Yeah.
And that sounds very good. You know what I mean? For just I wouldn't call it a throwaway match because this has been building. So just because it was made on short notice, that doesn't mean anything. I think this match has a lot of juice to it. So this should be good. Okay. Next, we're gonna get into what I thought was a sensational promo from Dani Luna. I think in these last couple of weeks, I said last night, I think in one of our group chats, this is kind of one of the women I would build the Knockouts division around. I've been thinking that a lot lately, but this is just very good. She just said that Tessa's in her way, and she like hyped up the match. But the way that she said it, she said that she was built for this. It was a very good promo. What did you think about this?
Well, definitely. Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad they're like showcasing Dani Luna more, in the singles action, and this was a good match with Tessa. Like to it was good for Dani to showcase her skill and craft because she really is a good talent. She really is a good wrestler. If you see her in the Indies and Death Pro Wrestling in the UK and then Death Pro Wrestling and whatnot, she's yeah.
Yeah,
I'll say I'll say the thing was holding her back. This I think is kind of character like. It's kind of like character. I mean, she can cut. It's like she can cut promos, which is good. But also for like people to kind of understand Danny, like from a character standpoint. Like when you look, like for example, like when you look at you know, arrogant, self aristocratic talents, daughter of of a legend and granddaughter of a legend and whatnot. So basically, yeah, like her character is, and she's already established. So basically, like for what Danny is missing is to find Dash for her to kind of like rise up to be like as one of the top of the division. Because personally, I would like to see Danny Luna versus Masha. But But yeah,
I think Danny
this was a good match. Yeah, Tesla getting the win was a right call, and show Luna got the. I mean, yeah, Luna got the showcase. So.
Yeah, there was a spot in the match where she kind of like hit this like variation of a blue thunder bomb, which was very, very dope. I said last night, and people know how I feel about Tessa, but that's not the point. I would go out of my way. I've told everyone to go out of their way to watch this match. I thought this was probably the match of the night. This was very good.
Yeah.
I think Danny Luna has a chance to be the next kind of Tessa. I mean, not Tessa, Jordan powerhouse. You know what I mean? In the division, and she does have personality. She can cut promos.
What I like about this the knockouts, like each of them are different. Like they all bring something different, and they all stand out.
Yes.
Like you can put them on a row, and then you can put them on a row selection, and then each of them stand out and easy to
That again, I that's very well said. It kind of reminds me of wrestling a little bit back in the day when you would watch WCW. There were so many different characters that stood out, and I think that's very true to in TNA as well. Not everyone's wrestling the same, not everyone looks the same. So, completely agree with you with that. Okay, next we're gonna get into. After the match, we had. Tessa and Alicia Fox, Victoria Crawford, jumped Danny, but Indy came out to save her. And I thought Indy cut probably the best promo she's cut in TNA, and probably showed the most fire I've seen from her from either her run in WWE / NXT or TNA. I thought this was a very good promo for her, and I thought they've done a good job building this match and telling the story of kind of, you know what I mean? Like, because, if people don't know about the back stuff, and we're just creating the idea that they used to be friends. This has been very good so far.
Yeah, very good promo from Indy, getting to the point saying that Tessa saying she doesn't know the Indy Hart well right now, like just because they had some history and whatnot, basically kind of like putting Tessa in her place. So it's just I'm really looking forward to see this match and seeing how well Indy can hang with Tessa.
Okay. Next, we're going to move into what I think is the segment of the night. This whole thing was money. The Elegance brand comes out. Modern day beautiful people. And Ash just cuts probably the best promo I've ever heard of her cut in her career.
Yeah, this was her. This was probably her best promo. She cut it.
This was money. Like, she was just basically saying, like, she talked about the incident that happened with the Inspiration. I don't know if people had saw that. They kind of did like a work thing at a t-shirt signing. Yeah, where they kind of got into a brawl. But she said that she was forced to apologize for that. She was talking about how the footage was like doctored or something like that. But she just said that they shouldn't be talking.
5,000.
5,000, yeah. She talked about how they shouldn't be talking about Masha versus JC. They should be talking about her. She defeated 19 other women to become the number one contender. She has a shot. And the whole time she's screaming. But I thought this was, again, you had mentioned, this is probably the best moment of her career. And I'm going to keep mentioning this. And I'm glad that it's not like she left or they did nothing with her after this. This Ash should win the world championship. Maybe not now, but this is, they did it backwards before. They made her in a world title feud too early, but that wasn't their fault. But this Ash right here, she put it all together. This was sensational.
Yeah, I was actually listening to Ash on Busted Open last night. Yeah, some of the stuff she cut on the promo was actually, you can tell how authentic and realness too, because she has feel like she has been overlooked. Obviously not just WWE, but also currently here in TNA and stuff. So I made her really good. I really like her like showing like that she should she should be respected. I mean, be respected and like be the center of the talk and stuff, and like not be overlooked just because of the people that she's sharing the division with and stuff. And to her credit, done well with leading the Elegance brand and yeah, basically yeah, all pointers she put down too. Basically saying like yeah, she's someone not to be overlooked at. And, and again, this is gonna be interesting to see like who will be the Knockouts champion by the time like Ash gets the title.
So then we get interrupted by Fatal Influence, and again, this was great too. JC says because the Elegance brand are claiming they're the best faction today. JC says no, that's Fatal Influence. She said this line to Ash, which I was like, damn, what a burn. It was something like just about like not knowing her place, but just something similar to that. But this was very good. Like again, this should be another faction match we get down the line. I hope that we're not done with these 6 women in a storyline. They need to continue this.
Yeah, I would say from faction standpoint, I would like to see it. Yeah, not so too sure if like JC versus Ash will be one to see. No offense, that's my take, but
Yeah.
like yeah, because you saw how like those 3 girls standing staring down at the other 3 girls, and like it was just and there's something there if like the other against brand wants to cross over, to
This
NXT and stuff.
this would be like if somehow back in the day we got Lay Cool versus the Beautiful People.
Exactly.
This is what I mean. I want to, what I mean. This is going to be good. Yeah, I don't know about Ash and JC in a singles match, but again, the 3, a trios match. I think that'd be very good. Okay, next we just get a quick segment with Jody Threat checking on Danny Luna in the trainer's room. Danny seemed to be a little upset. I don't know if this leads to anything, but if it does, I'm fine with that. I do. If they
Yeah,
revisit this,
I don't get this one. Like, so Spitfires split up and like they agree to go to separate ways, but Danny's asking where Jody was and stuff. I'm like, what are you supposed? Like, are you mad about the beatdown? I mean, I think yes, probably because she got beat down. That's probably what she was mad about. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. At least Indy was there to come to the save. I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to see what it's actually lead to or so. But.
mm-hmm. Okay. Next, we move in what was a very emotional segment. It was a Mike Santana video,
Yeah.
and there was also a message from his father who passed in 2019. This was very good. I think TNA's video segments have been top notch lately. What's up, Antonio?
What's up?
What'd you think about this? Yeah, I thought this was very good.
Yeah, folks need to see this. Yeah, and also, this will pretty much give your answer towards how Slammiversary is gonna go. Yeah, yeah. Santana's dad, rest in peace. Um, gave him some very inspiring words. Like the name Santana will live among the greats, and reminding Mike of why he's here and what he's meant to do and stuff. Like it was almost like a tearjerker. Like you can understand Like you can understand, the reason why, like what makes, Mike, what motivates him, and not just his daughter, his late father, and family and stuff. And also, I encourage you guys to watch the Era Hawani interview that Santana did. It's a very it's a very deep, and Mike talks a lot about his dad, and his addiction, his past addictions, and for anyone who wants to understand more about Mike's story and upbringing, I would give it a watch. But yeah, this was very good. Yeah, and gives you a reason to root for this guy.
They have done a tremendous job with not only like making you buy into Santana, but like they're doing everything that they can to create a star here, and obviously a lot of the work is being done by him. But the way that they're presenting him, they're making it seem like this is the next guy. So good on them for that.
Mhm.
Okay. Next we get a match. It's I laugh every time. The hometown man versus Judas Icarus of the Northern Armory. For what this was, I thought this was really good. I thought Judas looked really good out there. And again, I'm more sinner and saint, please. But the hometown man was able to get the win. They're pushing this guy really hard, but you know what I mean? He's the hometown man. His song is very catchy, even though it's very lame. It's just
catching.
it's just hometown man over and over again. Yeah, no, this was fun. Let me just say it makes me upset because I think I just saw that Sting trademarked, and hopefully someone can back me up or confirm it. I think I saw Sting trademarked the name Old Man Sting. That's a shame because every time I look at Eric Young, I want to call him Old Man EY because Eric Young and his grizzled gray beard getting more and more deranged again. I like this character. What'd you think about this?
Yeah, so it was, like you said, the hometown man is getting over. Uh, EY is, still losing his mind and stuff. We'll see where it goes from there. Um, Surely, yeah, the Northern Army ain't gonna let this slide. So, yeah.
Now that I'm thinking about it, is there anybody better at booking these silly gimmicks than TNA? Whether it's Shark Boy, Curry Man, the hometown man,
Exactly.
they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing with these gimmicks that they create.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Even so, you can mention suicide too.
Yeah, yeah. They can make anything work.
Yeah.
Okay. Next, we're gonna go into. We had a promo from Fourth Rope, which is again we talked about that. I believe that's West Side Guns promotion, right?
Yeah, West Side Guns promotion, Fourth Rope.
It was Enzo, and he again Enzo's promos aren't the pro. Enzo cuts a good promo. You know what I mean? He's good at what he does. And I believe he's hyping up a match because I think we got it teed. He mentioned Bishop, and I think he mentioned. I don't know if he mentioned Zilla, but I know that we're going to get a match with Enzo, Zilla Fatu, and is it Josh Bishop?
Yeah, Josh Bishop.
Versus Steve Macklin, Mance Warner, and Jake Sutton, which that should be very good. But this is whatever, again, regardless how I feel about it, if there's fans that like this, that's good because TNA needs to branch out and get as many eyes as possible. So what do you think about this?
Yeah, this is basically Fourth Row, getting some shine and plug for their own thing and stuff. And I mean, as much as I don't like Macklin been on the pre-show, but I guess they guess they put him on the pre-show and stuff, so it's whatever. Yeah, hopefully this is a one thing, with the four rope stuff. Yeah, just give them the shine and then move on from that and whatnot. Yeah.
You know, to your point on the pre-show, while I get what you're saying, I'm like that kind of sucks. As somebody, and I think like everybody, if you grew up in the Attitude Era, there used to be this show called Sunday Night Heat, and on pay-per-view nights, the pre-show would be on Sunday Night Heat, and I couldn't get all the pay-per-views when I was younger, so if they put good matches on the pre-show, I'm fine with that. That gets people to maybe entice them to buy the show, subscribe for the app. So I think this is a very good match to put on the pre-show. But I get what you're saying. I think Macklin deserves a little higher on the card. But if they weren't going to have a title match this show, you know what I mean? At least he's on the show.
Yeah.
Okay. Next week, we're supposed to get a Matt Cardona versus Jake Painter match. But before the match starts, Matt Cardona kind of issues a challenge to Dark State, and all of a sudden, lights go out. They're there. They take out Cardona. We get no match. But Brian Myers and JDC and Eddie Edwards did come out. So I think that those are the four that will be against Dark State. That should be very good. Again, anytime Eddie Edwards is involved in a match, I don't think the match mathematically can be bad. Eddie Edwards is the man. And Brian Myers has the, whether he gave it to himself or not, he is the most professional wrestler. This should be nothing but good. So, yeah, I'm excited for this. What do you think about this?
Yeah, this was very good. To set the stage for Sunday. It was interesting that Myers first came out to protect Cardona. Well, to say Cardona, 'cause it still kind of shows, there's still some potential there. Maybe like major players reunion, or maybe just helping out an old friend or whatnot. But yeah, yeah, they did a good job, giving Dark State some shine, showing us how threat they are and stuff. Also, I still crack at that sign someone put up the crowd saying Dark State is a team Nexus.
I'm not going to be surprised if
Yeah.
Dark State gets over in TNA.
So it'll
that
be
helps.
interesting if Cardona can trust the system and vice versa.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I think that's one of the key storylines of the match. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised though if Dark State get over in TNA first, because I feel like TNA has shown them more than I've seen in NXT, in the recent weeks. So yeah, no, this was good. Next we're gonna move on to a Hardy's promo, and this was very, I wouldn't call it it's not like they were out and out teasing a retirement, but they said that basically if they don't get the job done Sunday, it might be time to, what did he say? It might be time to end the Hardy Party. I don't know if that kind of makes my prediction a little easier. But when we get into it, but what did you think about this part, the first part of this promo?
Yeah, this is something that Matt mentioned in interviews too, like what would happen like if the Hardys don't end up with the titles again after Slammiversary and stuff. I don't know. I mean, I feel like they're still on top of their game, Matt and Jeff. Even without the titles, like I get like I get Matt. They want to test themselves and prove that they aren't bad. So it'll be interesting, if they can regain the titles or what happens next one. But I have my own prediction for the ladder match, as we'll get into later.
What was that?
I said I have my own prediction for the ladder match as we get into later.
Okay. Next week, and then basically just this was one of those old segments when we get every team in the four-way coming out. What made me stand out is at one point Ryan Nemeth said that the Nemeths are going to be champions forever, and obviously my mind went to he sounded like Squints from the Sandlot when he said that. And I mean, he's just so dorky. It made me think of that. But this was a good segment. You know what I mean? The Hardys cleared the ring at the end. Yeah, for what this was, I did like this. Okay. Next, we're going to go into our main event, which, again, this wasn't my favorite match of the night. I said it was Danny and Tessa. But I thought this was so good. It was Kazarian and Trick versus Santana and Joe Henry. And I don't know. I thought this was very good. I thought it made everybody look good going into Sunday. Obviously, Kazarian is always entertaining. But what do you think about all this? And real quick, me and my brother always had this phrase when we would talk, like we would say so and so, that's what they look like. Trick is that dude for me. I don't know what it is, but I'm so entertained by Trick as a heel, and the guy looks like a fucking star. You know what I mean? He carries himself like a star, and I think he's becoming better and better with each performance in a TNA ring, and I think that's going to translate to WWE when he eventually makes his way up to the main roster. What do you think about all this?
Yeah, this was a good main event. I'm glad Santana got the pin. To show, it was basically like to kind of give momentum for both challengers, heading into tomorrow. As you can hear, like the crowd was, rallying Hendry, like crowd was in for both guys, but mostly Hendry too, and yeah, good sequence, and Frankie did most of the work and stuff, on the opposite side. And I like the ending. I like the ending basically for like all three men, Trick, Joe, and Santana. In the middle of the ring. Great way to close the show. As well, almost close the show as we head into the main event. I mean, as we head into Sunday.
Yeah, I thought this part was maybe you could call your typical like go home show moment. But again, I think the point is you need to keep Santana strong. I think they did that, and going into Sunday, I think they just added more anticipation to the match. With that being said, do you have anything final you want to say about the episode before we go into predictions?
Oh, yeah, and then we had the that vignette scene of opening the box at AJ, and which is pretty cool. Overall, yeah, yesterday was a fun show. Yeah, fun go home show to get people talking for the pay-per-view.
Definitely. Okay, I have the predictions pulled up right here. We will get into it. Okay, let's go into our first match on the pre-show. We have two matches on the pre-show. We're going to start with the six-man tag, Jake Something versus Steve Macklin and Mance Warner versus Ilva2, Real One, Enzo, and Josh Bishop. Believe it or not, I'm actually kind of looking forward to this match just because I haven't seen much of Ilva2. I don't know anything about Josh Bishop. And I was kind of hoping that we would get the trio at some point of Jake Something, Steve Macklin, and Mance Warner, but this should be good. I think obviously the Team TNA wins this, but what do you think?
Yeah, the interesting factor in this is Ilva2. I'm sure you heard his name around. I'm sure you heard his name around a couple times and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm interested to see what he can bring in this match. He's probably someone that TNA should take a look at. Another person should take a look at Josh Bishop. I'm sure you've seen him. You remember him. He was hang with AJ Francis and stuff back at last year's Slammiversary.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, him. Um, Again, this is just fourth rope promotion, just getting some shine and stuff. Why Jake, Macklin, and Warner team should be interesting because all three of them, they just brawled they just brawled with one another like 2 weeks ago and stuff. So curious to see how that plays out. Yeah, Team TNA, get the victor, and Macklin still probably has to deal with something or Warner again, because or I mean we'll see what happens. So yeah, Team TNA gets the win.
Yeah, and back to your point real quick, them bringing in Zilla Fatu, because I think he is also on, there's also a rumor that he was on WWE's radar.
Yeah,
He's still young, so yeah, I think he would benefit
the
from going
son
to
of the
TNA.
son of Umaga, by the way, folks. Yeah,
Yes, I just looked at it. He's 25. I think him going to TNA first. You know what I mean? He can always
hmm
still go to WWE, but I think I think he'd benefit from going to TNA. So maybe this is they're kind of scouting him a little bit. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Okay. Next, we're gonna go into. Hold on a second. Just have the matches pulled up again. We have the Knockouts Tag Team Title match. We have the Elegance brand. It's going to be Ash and Heather versus the Inspiration. I don't know where to go on this one. What are you thinking?
Originally, when the inspiration returned, I would think that the inspiration will get this because at the time we were kind of like lacking tag teams and like probably changed, but so far the Elegance brand, they're on a roll, like with the addition of M by Elegance, them winning so many matches, and of course Ash being the next number one contender. So you figure like the brand needs more momentum. So I'm gonna go with the Elegance brand retaining. Um, I think this is far. I think it's far from over between these two teams. So for now, yeah, the Elegance brand.
I agree with you now that I think about it, because this isn't like before where it kind of was apparent that they were on that kind of run where they were going to go to different companies and win gold there. You know what I mean? Just to kind of get eyes on that
Yeah,
promotion. I think them being
yeah,
signed a little bit longer this time, and them already being
yeah,
champions, they don't need to win right away. So yeah, I'm going with the Elegance brand because I think they're really starting to find their stride as
yeah,
a top group. So I'm agreeing with you.
yeah. Like when they debuted, the inspiration, like they won the titles on the first night. So it'd be kind of like deja vu if they just like won them again. So I think for a little change, like they don't need to win the titles right now, or so to speak, because yeah, the Elegance brand, could use some momentum.
Okay, next we're going to get into the main card. We have Dark State, which is Dion Lennox, Osiris Griffin, Saquon Sugars, and Cutler James versus System, Brian Myers, Eddie Edwards, and JDC with Matt Cardona. Um, I think Dark State wins, just because I think that something's going to happen with Myers and Cardona. I don't think that they're going to be on. I don't think he's going to be on, like you said, on the same page with the System. And I think that I don't know how many matches Dark State have had, but I think they need to win this.
Well, yeah, something's gonna happen during the match for like miscommunication or whatnot and stuff. Like especially going up against a group who's united. Dark State definitely got this one.
Okay. Next, we're going to start getting what I think is one of the, obviously, on this whole card is must watch, but this is one of the first of the, I would say, 4 or 5 very intriguing matches. We have Tessa with Victoria Crawford versus Indy Hartwell. What are you thinking here, Io? Because I think this is less about the decision than how the match should go. But what are you thinking? What do you want to see out of this match besides who you want to win?
Well, I want to. This is basically, like I mentioned, this is a show. This is a big match for Indy in particular, like
Yes.
a a showcase match. Like, can she hang with Tessa? Because, like, she, unfortunately, like, we didn't really get to see much of what she could bring when she was in NXT and WWE. So, fast forward, this is like proven ground. It's like she's basically restarting over again for, like, she's like basically like starting over again. So this is proven ground. How well can she do, especially with one of the best right now in Tessa? It can go either way, honestly. I think I can see Tessa winning, but also can see Indy winning. Um, right now it seems like they're behind Indy, so I'm just gonna go with Indy. But I'm expecting like a hopefully a good showcase match, like because again, if if Indy can hang with Tessa, she'll be all right. But if not, then we're in trouble.
I expect Tessa to win, but I want to see out of this match. I want to come out of this match the same way that people came out of. I always reference this match, but I don't know what. You remember that random episode of I think it was SmackDown, Taker versus Jeff Hardy, where
Yeah,
Taker beat the shit out of Jeff at the ladder
yeah,
match. I want Tessa to damn near. I want her to hit all her moves. I want Indy not to give up and I just want her to, you know what I mean? I don't want her to stay down, like Jeff wouldn't. He just wouldn't stay down. So I expect Tessa to win, but there needs to be points in this match where Indy almost has it. You know what I mean? So when they get
yeah,
the second match, she's able to do it. So, and yeah, she needs to be able to hang with Tessa. That needs to be the whole. That's what really is the thing we want to see, because there's potential there, but this is probably her biggest test. And that's that's funny because I know she won it in a match where the belt was vacant and it was up for grabs, but still she needs to.
yeah.
I know she's an NXT champion, a
That's,
former NXT champion, but this is her biggest
yeah,
match.
yeah.
This is it. You know what I mean? This
That's,
is gonna be.
yeah,
This is going forward. This is gonna set the tone for her career.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Next, we get into what I think the match I'm looking forward to the most. The match I think is what everyone wants to see. It's Moose versus Leon Slater for the X Division Championship. I think everyone wants to see Leon win. I think Leon wins. I hope Leon wins. What are you thinking?
Yeah, from the moment Leon got signed, like he had a lot of attention. Like everyone knows, like this dude is gonna be like the future. Like like he's destined, for greatness and stuff. So, and kudos to TNA, for pushing Slater, like with the build and like losing so much matches, on the system. Um, yeah, this is a very good potential show stealer match because again, Moose, he's not having a good reign, and Moose is one of those guys like with like the right opponent, smaller opponent, like he can have a good match too. Like he even gave Lexus King, a good match.
Mm-hmm.
I know how folks like to make fun of Lexus King and stuff, but like, hey, it just goes to show how talented Moose is. So yeah, this is Leon tonight's to become the youngest X Division champion, and if anyone should do it, it should be him. So yeah, looking forward to this
It's
match.
funny. It's funny that you mentioned just kudos for them for like booking them. Obviously, we talk about constantly how when you started watching from the beginning of TNA and from when I started watching, but I started watching unfortunately like probably a year before Hogan and Bischoff came in, and just the way that you saying good for them for pushing. Let's just say Leon was born in a different time and he was this young then. They would have pushed him. You know what I mean? So kudos
Yeah.
this TNA booking team and
Yeah.
the way TNA is ran now. Because you know what I mean. These are the kind of stars.
Years ago, if things were different, like Moose would already dropped the title, but to someone else. But yeah, at least
Yeah.
it shows TNA like they're behind Slater, and they want him to be their face of the exhibition.
Next, we're gonna move on to what I think will be TNA's next 5-star match, maybe even plus 5-star plus. It's gonna be Mustafa Ali versus Cedric Alexander. This is gonna be the match of the night. I don't know. I don't know what you think, but this is what I think this is gonna be the match of the night. I think Mustafa Ali wins, of course, but that's not about that. I think this is gonna steal the show.
Yeah, this could possibly match their WrestleMania match many years back. Um, yeah, I love it's crazy like how last week put a twist on things, but yeah, I like how we're getting like 205 live vibes into this, as both guys were like the heart and soul of that brand. And yeah, this is a match for Mustafa because many have said, and Tasha repeatedly said, like Cedric is the one guy he's had trouble beating, and he's like his kryptonite and stuff. But yeah, like again, I like the build how we got there. Like Ali was unhinged. Tasha, we thought that she needed help, and like she called Cedric, and only for her to turn his back on her and get order like in her way of getting order for back into construction, and now they're back on the same page. They're acting like, oh, well, what was at least Cedric? Like basically just used them for your own need and stuff. So anyway, this should be a very good match. Thinking Mustafa's getting the win because I mentioned while too on our chat like we haven't seen the best out of Mustafa Ali. Like I feel like we're just getting started with the other four, and we're definitely getting started with Mustafa as
Mm-hmm.
being like one of the top heels, like one of the top heels of the company.
Yeah, and let me just Obviously, WrestleMania is WrestleMania, but I believe that match was on the pre-show, right?
Correct.
Obviously, there's less people at this show, but there's still going to be a lot of people. This show is a big deal. To me, this match this time around feels bigger because I just feel like these two in this company are treated like bigger deals than they were in WWE. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because these are the type of guys that this company was founded on. So I don't know. It just feels like the crowd is going to be. I feel like the crowd's going to be standing the whole time for the. You'll be standing the whole time. You know. Hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Next, we're going to get into the 4-way ladder match, which this is the Hardys. This is their backyard. This is the home court here. We got the Nemesis versus the Hardys versus the Rascals first class. I want you to take this one because earlier I had just said that I think the Hardys win, but now that I'm actually reviewing the lineup, I'm doubting myself. What do you think?
It should be a very good match. I can tell you one team it's not going to be. Unfortunately, it won't be the Rascals. Because from my understanding, Trey, is going to have surgery soon. For like a hernia injury. So, but hopefully things go well. But yeah, it won't be the Rascals. The Nemets, that's interesting. Like so far, like they've had like a decent run, but you only see them mostly on segments and stuff than compared to the matches. But I think they could win retain, but not sure. Usually like in multi-person ladder matches, like usually new champs and stuff. So and then you have the Hardys. Oh, sorry. 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 Then you have first class. AJ and Navarro. they've been a good function team. You gotta give them that. Like the chemistry the chemistry with Casey and AJ is like off the charts. Like from the first class penthouse to like pairing up with Trick Williams and and doing their own stuff and like being annoying heels. Like yeah, makes them very likely to win. And then you have the Hardys who said that if they don't win, this could be the end of the Hardy party, which would be very sad, for the Hardy fans and stuff. So yeah, it's three of the four of these teams could possibly win. I'm gonna go with first class because I think they deserve this moment, especially Casey and AJ. I mean, well, especially Casey, because he got signed with the company around this time last year, and
Mm-hmm.
he's been killing it. Doing a lot of media, Slammiversary media, New York media, and stuff. And yeah, he's a very good person and stuff. So you want to award that type of thing. So I think like Slammiversary would be nice for him and AJ to win the titles. So first class.
What up, Terrence?
So there.
Do you happen to know when the Hardys deal is up? Do you happen to how long are the Hardys signed for?
I think towards the end of the year, or heard, or yeah, likely towards the end of the year.
So I think that's why because I think that the Hardys should win. I think the Hardys do win. That's why I rephrase it. I think the Hardys win because I agree with you that first class should be the champions, but I think that the rub would be better if they were to get a win,
Beat the
a visual
Hardys.
pin over the Hardys. So I think the Hardys win tonight and on Sunday, and then they eventually put AJ and Casey over. But so I'm going with the Hardys. Okay. Next, we're going to go into one of our two world title matches. It's going to be Masha Slamovich versus JC Jane. I've been thinking about this a lot. And the more I think about it, if this was an equal partnership, which it seems to be, yes, it's TNA's night. Yes, it's TNA's pay-per-view. But I don't see TNA going home with all the gold. I think JC wins here because I think Santana is winning. So that's just my opinion. What are you thinking, Io?
Well, I think like if they're still gonna treat this partnership like it still means some. Like if they want folks to take this partnership serious, then I think fairness and equal had to be accounted. Like obviously Trick Williams is the TNA World Champion, him being the NXT talent. So again, like if we're gonna continue with this partnership being serious, so it's only fair a TNA star gets the. Oh, sorry, I'll get to your comment. If only fair like a TNA star won the NXT title. Uh, like Masha winning would open a lot of possibilities. I mean, it would refreshen the NXT Women's division. It would get more attention. Obviously, not obviously on Masha, but also on the TNA brand. So I think it only makes sense for Masha to win, become double champ. Because no offense to JC, she's not on Masha's level and stuff. And of course, the Ash by Elegance favor factor in like who's she gonna face. It seemed like based on that stairway down on the rampway, Masha basically shoulder to shoulder, Ash out the way and stuff. So it seems like there's some room between those two, but yeah, I'm gonna go with Masha. Yeah, yeah. Let's make this partnership go fair and even.
I'm assuming this match is going to go on before the world title match. If Masha ends up winning, then then that changes my thing that I don't think Santana wins. I just don't see a scenario with TNA walking out just temporarily. I mean, going forward, obviously, with both world titles. You know what I mean? Even though it's not like they have both of NXT titles.
I mean, I see. I get that point. I get that point. So, but like the thing is like TNA has to like TNA has to. I mean, like I get what you mean. Like basically, like the world, basically with the world title, like everyone is basically trying to rescue that belt. Like it bothers the roster that Trick has the belt and stuff. So like you're asking, like, so basically it's like, what would happen if the same situation occurred? Like if JC beats Masha, like then the same disowning they gave Joe Henry, they would have to give to Masha, and also as a result, would kind of like put a little hardness on the brand. Like, oh man, we just let two of our belts to NXT talent. So this is why I'm very behind Masha because I want like to put some fairness into the senior relationship. And like, hey, like Masha on NXT more, like, hey, that'd be cool. Like, face plus, like she's a very competitive talent, so she demands competition. And being a champion of another brand, open up some more competition. So,
and you know what?
yeah, well,
Also,
guess we'll
too,
see.
because it's not like it has who. It's not like there's a rule that TNA has to walk out with all the wins. Because if you think about it, TNA is yet to hold any NXT gold. So technically, this
Well, I
would
mentioned
be
Dark State. Dark State might get a win, so it won't. So I mean, at least some NXT talent might get a win Sunday.
but Masha winning the NXT title would be the first time that, you know what I mean? So this would kind of be them paying it, you know what I mean? Just because Santana winning the title back doesn't count as like, it's not the
No,
favor being repaid, you know what I mean? Because that's our title.
no.
So
Hmm.
Masha winning would be, and also too, because I believe that there is, I think the week after this show is a live episode TNA. I think that'd be very dope for
Yeah.
Masha on a live episode to have both belts. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So yeah, I'm gonna kind of change. I do think Masha wins. I do think Trick wins, just because I think this is Masha. I mean NXT kind of paying it back of them. Them taking our title. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Masha. I'm gonna go with Santana.
Yeah. Yeah. It's TNA. It's TNA's night. Like I know we have a
Yeah.
partnership going, but at the end of the night, it's TNA show. So you got to do
Mm-hmm.
something to like make TNA fans go happy.
Exactly. Okay, well, with that being said, then we're gonna wrap up here. I want to thank you guys all for joining. I want to
Wait. The main
make sure
event.
you. Oh, dude, I thought we just talked. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, you're right.
The main. Yeah.
Sorry.
The main event.
Yeah, obviously, I had just mentioned
Oh
it.
yeah,
We're gonna go into the
and
main event.
we got the main event, and then talk about what AJ is gonna do. Well, at least our own
Okay. Yes.
prediction.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the main event: Trick Williams versus Joe Henry versus Santana. I'm interested. To me, what's more interesting is I'm wondering who takes the pin here, because I think it would go a long way with Santana pinning Trick, but I definitely could see Joe taking the pin, just because I think they still kind of want to protect Trick, and I think that Joe is so over that a loss doesn't hurt him. What do you think? But again, yeah, I think Santana wins. What do you think about this? What are you thinking?
From the moment they announced Slammiversary was gonna be in New York, I knew that Santana was gonna have a this would have to be a crowning night for Santana. I mean, they did. For the credit, they done a good job. He's gone from facing Moose, facing Josh Alexander, Mustafa Ali, First Class, leading up to here. Definitely, this is Santana's night. And I mentioned this on a tweet too. Like I mean, they could have still had Joe Hendry with the belts, but leading up to Slammiversary, but they didn't because they wanted to have it on a heel, being Trick. And we knew when they had that stare down Trick and Santana, like they were gonna cross paths. And this is where we are now. So this is definitely this whole event was made for like Santana getting his crown of achievement in his home state of New York, which is very fitting. I mean, it's New York. I mean, and yeah, who should he pin? Trick Williams. Like it only makes sense because again, we're the whole storyline is rescuing the title from an outsider, bringing the title back from TNA. But it makes sense pinning the outsider. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like
Okay,
yeah,
people. Yeah, no, exactly. So let's close our eyes for a second. Imagine the confetti's coming down.
yeah,
Tom's hyping it up. We finally got our
yeah.
title back. Lights go out,
Hmm.
and all of a sudden you hear "Get ready to fly."
Yeah,
If they bring out, if they, you know what I mean? Because in my head it's like,
yeah,
in order for Santana to be the new standard, he needs to beat the original standard. So if we get AJ versus Santana like BFG, for example, that's very huge. Because I do think that they have saved AJ for last, and I don't think that ruins Santana's moment. Because I think that we're going to get AJ in a
yeah.
match.
I was thinking too, like, how would they introduce AJ, like before the end or like at the end? Because because you really don't want to like as much of like Santana, like we don't want his spotlight as much of his spotlight to be taken away. So it'll be interesting to see how AJ kind of factors in, like before the show, before the main event, or at the end of the main events. I mean, but
I think
this we'll see. But yeah, if like, I like your idea. If Santana is going to call himself the standard TNA, then look no further facing a man who was the franchise of the brand. And if they have like a face-to-face stare down, bam, like start announcing Bound for Glory ASAP. Because there's only one pay-per-view that fits that type of, collaboration. I mean, potential collision. So yeah, not sure what they're gonna do with AJ. Hope, I mean, it could be. Then again, it could be a one night only. You know what I mean? But yes, we'll see.
there's just like, okay, because if you just think about it, because I believe Trick cut a promo where I think he said he was the best TNA champion of all time. And I don't know if he said that, you know what I mean? I don't think he mentioned AJ Styles directly, but I think there's so much plays into it because I think Santana's whole thing is, he's not running from the grind. You know what I mean? He knows, you know what I mean? And he would never say that.
Hmm.
So I think he knows that in order to be better than AJ Styles, he would have to beat him. And so I think AJ coming out, Santana would not even only look at that as disrespect. He would welcome the challenge because that kind of, I think, fits this whole narrative with Santana that he wants to put the company on his back. So I don't know. I just think that'd be a very, and again, I'm also just thinking because with the announcement of, I believe Carlos Silva said that he wants to put a re-emphasization on the Hall of Fame and make it more important. You could argue
Yeah.
that the fact that AJ's not in already or wasn't the first Hall of Famer, I get Sting going in and others going in before him, but you know what I mean? If this leads to AJ being in the Hall of Fame, which he should absolutely be, so yeah, I think this is a very good way to kind of build toward that. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm looking forward to that because
Yeah.
I wouldn't want them to bring him in and just show him in the crowd. You know what I mean? Let's get a big moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Because you want like give the fans something to remember for and something to be lasting. Like the fact like that you know, AJ, coming back after 11 years, give them a moment to remember. But yeah, like you mentioned, the Hall of Fame. I know AJ said he doesn't want to be in the Hall of Fame right now. So, but then again, the timing, hey, like, will be for fitting. And I like, Yeah, you mentioned Carl Silva. Yeah, he said they're putting more focus on the Hall of Fame, so we should see more inductees. Uh, like to see Bobby Roode, get inducted too. Like, because
Yes.
for all we know, he
Christopher
might not
Daniels
wrestle
is
again and stuff. So yeah, yeah,
Daniels
Daniels
and
too.
Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe.
Mhm.
There's a lot of people there. Like when you look at the TNA Hall of Fame, just because it's not like WWE where they put multiple people in every year, and there was a couple of years they skipped. There's a lot of names that they're not like borderline names. They're names that are like you think of guys like Samoa Joe, Daniels, AJ, James Storm, Chris Harris. There's a lot of people who should be in the Hall of Fame that are not yet. So,
Mhm.
and real quick, just because one of my favorite moments, I would, in my head, I just think it'd be very cool if they bring in Mike Tenay for one night and AJ comes out to his heel music and then they get like with aces and eights and then they get ready to fly and Tenay's going, it's the old AJ. Because that was one of the best moments ever when AJ came back and turned face to help the main event Mafia. But I really do hope that we get Let's Ready to Fly. I saw someone say they'll probably play his WWE music. I don't think they would do that. I don't think they would do that at all. I think we're gonna get that.
Yeah, some
Let's
people
get
will be
Fly.
some people will be upset. Like they want the get ready to fly thing. Yeah,
Now I wouldn't be upset if the only
yeah,
theme that they can find is the Fortune 4 theme. I'd be okay with that if that's the only tape they could find backstage. But yeah, I do want Let's Get Ready to Fly.
yeah.
Okay, with that being said, I want to thank you guys all for joining. I want to let you guys make sure you guys like and subscribe this video. Subscribe so you get notified whenever we go live or when anybody go on Body Slam goes live. But also before we sign out, do you have any final thoughts you wanna say about? I know you're lucky you get to be there on Sunday to witness history. What are you looking forward to the
Yeah.
most? When are you heading out?
Well, I'll be out. Well, the show starts at well,
Oh,
pre-show
you're
starts at
leaving.
7. So
Oh, you're going the day of.
say that
Okay,
again.
nice. How?
Yeah, yeah, I'm going the day off. Yeah, yeah. It's like an hour, 30 minutes from where I'm at.
Oh, that's not bad at
Yeah.
all. Okay.
So yeah, I'm lucky that I'm kind of close walk by. But yeah, I'm also man, I'm looking forward to like everything, like from the stage, the sets, looking at the talent up close, the crowd reactions. Because like I'm a sucker for crowd reactions.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's gonna be everlasting moments for me. Because you were a rebellion. But
Yeah.
actually, before I get to me, like talk about like how being in rebellion. Like what was that mean to you seeing they doing like a Los Angeles show?
It was very cool, and let me just say, I think I've heard a lot of people say this. I think that TNA, the crowds live are just it's so much different being there live than watching on TV. I don't think that
Yeah.
it's not that the crowds don't translate. I just think the TNA faithful is so passionate. So being there live, it's a lot better. It was very incredible being there.
hmm hmm Yeah. And I think we're gonna get that too. Like the crowd is gonna be up on their feet for every match, and because we're gonna get like a mix of like hardcore fans, casual fans, WWE fans, and all a mix in between. Like it's gonna be a good moment. Yeah. And the
Yeah,
talent,
I think
the talent that everyone's pumped forward to.
not to say there's a lot riding on this show, but I think that this show is going to be a domino effect in a lot of good things that will be coming TNA's way going forward. So, you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
it'll
All
set the
right, well, with
stage.
that being, yeah, exactly. Well, with that being said, I want to thank everybody for joining. Thank you, Io, as always. And with that being said, have a good night, everyone.
Later.
Oh, thank you! Thank you. Thank you.